Well, we're excited today to have Martell Webster here. He was the sixth pick in the 2005 NBA draft. He was drafted straight out of prep school, right? Right out of high school.
Right out of high school.
10-year NBA vet and played for Portland, then Minnesota, then Washington. So just want to welcome you onto the show today, Martell.
It's a pleasure to be here, gentlemen. I really appreciate it. You guys got me up in an area that I never really, dwell in, which is podcast interviews, but I'm here
Yeah,
and I'm appreciative of it.
Yeah,
you're a
glad to
natural,
have you.
man. Look at the backdrop and even show everybody the mic. I mean, this is looks like you're a veteran.
Yeah, I've been doing this for years. I even put the screen up so it's a little bit distorted back there. And this is an actual tree that's right here. It's not like back in the distance. Oh yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, yeah, we're excited to chat with you and learn a little bit more about your NBA career and experience, as well as your thoughts on what's happening now. A big part of
Mm,
what we do for Saving the Association is kind of reflect on how things were, how they're changing, and what the future of the league is. And we
mm-hmm.
know everyone's kind of got different opinions depending on their experience, right?
True.
So, excited to chat with you about that. You were with Minnesota, Washington, and Portland, which you're in the Portland area now. Man, like we never experienced the league. You did, right? So you see probably such a different NBA now. Just to kind of veer off for half a second, like, is it something you stay actively engaged in, or are you kind of like, yeah, sometimes I check on things, but that feels like a past life for me?
Oh, super past life. I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, the questions and some of the things we'll be talking about today, um, I'm really, honestly, a lack of a better word, a greenie. Even though I've been there and that was my life, but as of right now, I spent a lot of time on the road, and with the sacrifice was amazingly, how can I, chaotic, and I wouldn't say guilty because I'm gone from our kids. We're gone from our kids so much that we miss a lot of the staples in their life. So now, fast forwarding where I am now, I like to be engaged with my kids. I have five. Four of
Okay.
them are still in the house, so I'm really engaged in being a father.
That's great, man. Yeah, I think a lot of people probably don't take that into consideration of like how much you really put on hold and sacrifice because this is a year-round thing. I mean, 82 games, preseason, postseason, workouts in the summer, with free agency, who kind of knows like where you're going to be living next. And so that really is quite a sacrifice. I'm sure it's good to be with the fam now.
For sure, that picture in your background is actually a perfect representation of life. Honestly, to
Oh,
tell
I
you the
love
truth,
it. My mother-in-law painted this, so I'll pass the good word on
mother-in-law is
her.
pretty dope. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we want to hear your thoughts on some recent NBA events with the draft.
Hmm.
The 2025 draft just concluded yesterday, and to no one's surprise, Cooper Flag goes number one overall. Kind of,
True.
saw this for quite a while. I'm not a Spurs fan, for the record. Brett and I are collecting NBA gear. I'm a Jazz fan. He's a Bulls fan. So when we see items, no knock to our Spurs listeners, but I was upset as a Jazz fan we didn't get him right. So I have all these other ideas and thoughts of what we can do now. But what are some of your thoughts and expectations for a guy like Cooper, who is so highly touted and is going to have so many eyes on him to be this huge producer and let's call it what it is, a star going forward in his career?
I mean, it's this all this is exciting, man. This kid, kind of just jumped on the scenes, and he's from somewhere far east, right? If I'm
Yeah,
not
Maine.
mistaken,
You're in
Maine.
Maine,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's from Maine. And then here comes this kid who is just super athletic, is very skilled for his age. And then you fast forward to him being at Duke and just completely being a force. And the crazy thing about Coop is he almost flies under the radar. He's like a fly under the radar type player. And when you watch him on TV, he plays so low that he looks like a point guard. I remember I first started watching him at Duke, and I'm like, where is he? And
Mhm.
he's 6'10", but he looks like he plays like he's 6'5". And that was amazing to me because I'm seeing this kid do things so poised with so much poise. And then he can just turn into a straight monster. He's like, in my opinion, he's kind of like a quiet assassin. And
Mhm.
him coming in is two things. He's gonna be this amazing blockbuster star, or unfortunately, I love this guy. It can end up being something like a Greg Oden. You never know. That's why everybody's drafted on potential, and
Yeah.
his potential and his upside is amazing, especially with how the game is played now. Every I tell people that these players are like Formula One cars now.
Mm.
It's they're up and they're fast, and the pace is it's mind-boggling how fast they play. And I'm saying that because I used to be there, right? And you had your Rick Adelmans, and who was the coach for uh Golden State? I'm drawing a blank. But their whole in the Phoenix Suns, they was about trying to score and put a shot up in the first 9 seconds,
Yeah.
because when you speed the game up, that means more opportunities. And then they were shooting the 3-pointer like a lot. When I first came into the league, I had a coach who was super defensive minded, and Nate McMillan. So shooting a whole bunch of threes were like, to him, that was like, what are you doing? Are you trying to lose the game? But and to now, and fast forwarding, like that's where the game was going. And Coop is going to be so good in this league because he can shoot the ball, and then if need be, he's taking you off the dribble, and he may just yam on the whole entire team.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be exciting for him being that kind of tweener big. He's 6'10", right?
Yeah. 6'9",
6'9", yeah,
6'10".
Yeah,
His
give or
floor,
take three
like you
inches on
said,
paper.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. His floor, like you said, is probably one of the highest floors we've seen in a long time, where there's no way, unless he's hurt, he's not a
True.
productive, solid player with all those different abilities that you had mentioned. Now, can he, like you said, if he's kind of just good at everything, but maybe not great at one particular thing, that's where I think the league is interesting. Is as fans, we see kind of a collection of like freak athletes and
Yeah.
hyper anomalies, right? You got like really that's what it is. And so one of the guys like that can do just a little bit of everything well is going to fit in everywhere. But like, what is the team going to ask of him points wise, et cetera? So, anyways, another quick thought I had when you mentioned Nate McMillan and the 3-point shot. I'm sure Rudy Fernandez had a hard time with that because that's his bread and butter coming over
Oh
from
my
the
gosh.
States, right? That's all he knew.
Yeah. You know, and another thing about this game, right? Talking about Rudy Fernandez, it is so monumental, and it is so important. It's one thing to go top 14 pick, right? And you lottery pick. But it's all about the system you get put in. That will make or break a player. Like truly. Honestly, I don't make excuses, but it would have been really nice if I would have gone to a place like Seattle, if I was drafted to the Sonics, because there it was truly, truly about developing the player. Kevin Durant, he comes in, shoots 1,000 shots. If there was 1,000 shots to be shot in the game, he had the green light to do it because they know why they drafted the player. So with Coop coming in, Rudy Fernandez coming in, it's about the system that you play in. And I think for him, where he is right now, Dallas Mavericks, I mean, they're fresh off of a player that came and shot all the shots, all different types of shots. So I think, and it's funny, long story short, my girls play for Jason Kidd Select.
Oh,
so him coming to Dallas, I think is going to be amazing experience for him.
That's great. Hey, is there another player in this draft that maybe stands out to you or I think can maybe surprise people?
And this is where we go, where I don't dabble in college basketball, to tell you the truth. And the reason is I didn't go.
Yeah.
I didn't go to college. So I see some of the premier players. Don't ask me to remember the names. Always the top player I'm going to remember because that's where all the spotlight's on and all of the TV channels are showing. So honestly, to tell you the truth, I won't be able to tell you until I watch this season coming up.
Yeah. How about you, Tanner? Do you have a player that you think could be a surprise to people or someone you're really high on?
There's a couple guys that like, let's take Ace Bailey, for example, right? This is my Jazz pick here. Again, fit, culture. There's a lot of like, you try to picture someone in an offense or someone who would be featured right away. And again, it goes back to, I think, the expectations of how well is this player going to do. And I think Ace could have a great opportunity because there's still pretty low expectations in Utah. And another guy, I think, could actually do pretty well is Jeremiah Fears. I don't like him in a team that needs to win right now, but if New Orleans is just going to roll the ball out with a bunch of like who knows, I
Hmm.
think he could surprise some people given his abilities and kind of he still has to work on the shot. A short guard that doesn't have a shot is tough. Very few of those guys make it in the league, but I do think that he has a lot of promising upside in the right developing situations, and so he's one I would definitely keep an eye on. And there's
Hmm.
so many other guys that I don't know. I want to believe in. I'm sure with you and your Bulls, the Noah Essengay is another one where you're hopeful, but we'll see. I mean, after Cooper, boy, it sure drops off pretty hard. Him and Dylan Harper.
I was actually going to say the same as you, Tanner. I think Ace, given the fact he's going to have probably the biggest green light of guys. I mean, Utah really doesn't have, besides Laurie, who's not going to have the ball in his hands
Nearly
all the
everyone
time.
has a 10.
I think that Ace could really be a guy that comes out and plays well this year.
Yeah, for sure. So
What do
Martell,
you guys think about?
go
So
ahead.
honestly, what do you guys think about Dylan Harper? Because I'll just tell you something about the coach.
Yeah.
Right? How do you guys feel about him?
Uh, I think he's a really solid option. Again, he's a good point guard who probably benefited from having Ace on his team. Um,
Hmm.
I thought the
Um,
Rutgers team was not super impressive, to be honest. Given that they had that much talent and like you didn't really hear a lot of noise from them in the tournament, I do
hmm.
think it's Aces or sorry, Dylan's gonna have an interesting time in San Antonio unless they move off of Fox and Chris Paul,
Yeah,
whatever else they've got, or Castle. I don't really understand what they're doing there. It feels like a bigger play is still at stake with a potential Giannis run or moving somebody else because that's just kind of a lot of point guards next
mm,
to Wemby and whatever else they plan to do. So I think Dylan's a nice piece for somebody, but I don't know that it's necessarily them if they keep Fox.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at me as you were talking. Very great point. Honestly, as I'm watching these highlights, because I'm watching highlights because I don't know anything about the player, and you sitting there describing him, I'm looking at him, and you're right on. Like exactly spot on. My whole thing, yeah, with De'Aaron Fox and you got Castle, like that's gonna be interesting because you have somebody like De'Aaron that is the primary ball handler, almost in the sense of a Chris Paul, right?
Mhm.
And then you got somebody like Dylan. He's gonna have to learn how to play off the ball. Like, and if he's a ball handler, like I'm seeing in these highlights, he's gonna have to have a motor like Stephen Curry, because if you want the ball, you're gonna have to be able to come off screens, and especially with the head coach and Mitch Johnson, who is one of my best friends. He was in my
Oh,
wedding.
nice.
He was in
Oh,
my
awesome.
wedding. I could tell you that this guy is he has one of the highest IQs I have ever, ever knew. Like this kid, go back to high school. He was one of the first, if not the only person that had 3 TVs on the wall playing all different sports at one time. And he could tell you all the general managers, like all the head coaches, everybody in the front office. This kid and playing with him growing up, I probably only seen him lose the ball 3 times.
Wow, that's crazy.
3 times. So he's a high. His IQ for the game is so high. And his dad was John Johnson that won a championship for the Seattle Supersonics back in the 70s.
Oh,
But
nice.
this guy, yeah, this guy will be able to implement. If they drafted this kid, I guarantee you, Mitch Johnson had 95% of that choice because
Mm,
he understands how to play him in a system. But this kid Dylan's going to have to be able to play off the ball, and that's the way he's going to get the ball in his hands to make plays because they got two playmakers in De'Aaron and him. So it'll be interesting. We'll
yeah,
see.
yeah, that's a great point. You were also drafted once upon a time. What was the draft process like? Where did you think you were going? Was that a surprise, or did you feel like, oh, that's about kind of where you fit in the draft?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, I couldn't give you history of the NBA, man. Like my, I'll give you a small story. Like um my mom was murdered when I was 5 years old, and I didn't meet my dad nor speak the first second to this man until 2 weeks after I got drafted.
Mm.
So having this and being in special education all the way until I got to high school is like there was never really a history that was taught to me about the NBA. I just knew I wanted to get there after watching Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. So the work ethic came in. When I get drafted, long story short, I get up there and I'm like, wow, I did this. I really did this. So, you know, the process of the NBA and where I was going, I couldn't tell you anything about the cultures of where we're going. I was just so excited. When I got to the Blazers, you know, if you guys recall, we didn't have a coach.
Mm.
Mm.
Like they just let Mo Cheeks go. So I'm going through summer league and we don't even have a coach. And then, you know, eventually we ended up hiring and signing Nate McMillan. So no, knowing where I was going and where I wanted to go, obviously the place I wanted to go was the Supersonics, and then after that it was the Lakers to play with Kobe. But Portland. Now, you know, we're talking. I was just talking about Kobe. If I can go back and do it again, I would have probably pulled a Kobe card, and that is, you know, switch my draft pick so I can go to a system that I truly appreciate and that helps me grow and encourages me to grow. So, yeah, Portland though, whatever, I got there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's probably actually kind of nice if you didn't have expectations or some history or like, I don't want to say jaded view of the league, but you're like, well, I don't want to go to all these places. You're like, hey, look, I'm happy to be here. I want to be in the NBA. That's my goal.
Genuinely.
This is what it looks like in terms of success and making it. That's probably awesome for you, despite whatever system you fall into. That's cool that you got there. And I mean, a belated congratulations. I mean, how many people A, get drafted, and B, are lottery picks? You know, that's super awesome. And the rest of the career, you know, playing out the way it did
Well, let's
too.
get started with the full court press. All right, Martell, for your first question here, we have what was your favorite team growing up?
Two teams. Sorry, I can't give you a favorite,
That's
and
okay.
that was my Supersonics. I was a Supersonics, the team fan, but I was a Michael Jordan fan. So
Yeah.
whatever team he was on, it just so happened to be the Bulls.
Yeah, that's
But
great.
I'll
I don't know
tell
if you
you,
said,
man, Seattle. So one of the biggest things that kind of inspired and gave me fuel to work and strive for the NBA was uh, the accessibility of players. You know, a lot of times these players are put on such a high pedestal and they're not accessible. Me, more like loving the fact that when I was in camp, we went to Supersonics camp, and I got to see Detlef Shrimp and Hersey Hawkins, Gary Payton, Dale Ellis, like Sean Kemp. These guys came to this camp, and that right there was like, oh my gosh, these people aren't just figures on a TV, they're actually human beings. So that was super big for me. And I'm a spiritual person, and I believe in Jesus. And one of the things about Jesus was he was accessible.
yes,
Anybody could be around him. And when you have players like that, it's so inspiring.
that's great, man. That's great.
I love it. Oh,
How
go ahead.
about do you have a favorite player in the league right now, Martell?
Yeah, man. SGA is something different, man.
I knew you
It's
were going to say
something
that.
different about this kid, and it's not because he won a championship. Like that was one of the guys I was watching over the course of the year. Obviously, Anthony Edwards is a force to be reckoned with, and people need to. I don't know how the game will translate this, but Jordan didn't win his first title until he was 28. Anthony's so young and his upside is so high. But SGA, man, he's probably the closest thing to Michael Jordan I've ever seen, minus obviously the ridiculous athleticism.
Yeah.
This kid plays in the his mid post game is it's almost like everybody was like, okay, this is the person that nobody's going to touch. We're not even going to try to guard him. Like he gets in there and makes it look so easy. His touch, his ability to get separation, his ability to even use his body is it's miraculous, man. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he,
his turnaround 15 footer at at kind of that elbow, it's almost automatic. Like if you don't have a guy up in his bit, like he'd make 100 out of 100.
yeah.
Yes.
And it's
It
funny because in a league where everyone is griping about how many 3-point attempts are happening right now, and it's just like, yeah, it's just a bunch of guys chucking from, you know, from deep because of Steph. Everyone also kind of gets mad if they see a lot of mid-range too. It's like, well, which is it? Do you want the old 90s, you know, back to the basket mid-range game, or do you want the 3-point shot? Because it feels like Shea's unlocked something there, like you had said. And the guys who can shoot the two efficiently are really awesome at it and get to the line, obviously, too. which is where
Yes.
some other people take issue, and I'll leave Brett out of that.
Come on, B.
When you were playing, who was a player that you were most proud of having a great game against? You're like, man, that was awesome that I went out and did this today against this guy.
So many, man. It's so many. Like my first game, our first preseason game was versus Ray Allen. And I
Mm.
love Ray Allen. Like he inspired my shot. But Kobe, man. Kobe, like I wanted to play great against Kobe. I loved playing against him so much and competing. Rest in peace, man, to the GOAT, man. Like that guy was insanely good. Like I seen a 65 piece on us up close that was so nostalgic. And he did it so effortlessly. And he's also one of the most disrespectful shot takers ever. Ever. I've seen this guy shoot 35 footers with somebody right in his face. If you guys go back and see the clip of him driving from the sideline, gets cut off by B. Roy, spins back to deep corner and shoots it in LaMarcus Aldridge's face. It was like, yeah, dude, whatever. I do this. Who cares? But so Kobe, it would
Great.
have to be Kobe.
That's awesome. And then who was a guy that had your number every time you played him? You're like, gosh, we got to see these guys tonight. I know it was just, on.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a couple guys, man. Bruce Bowen
Mm.
was just a nagger. That sounded so close. You borderline might have to clip that out. Oh man.
Well, that's our most viral clip to date.
Right? Practice. No, I'm playing. Ron Artest.
Mm.
Ron Artest was a monster. He was definitely a monster. Kevin Garnett. Those teams had some dogs on them. But yeah, those are the ones that I remember the most. Obviously, you played against Dallas, and you had JJ Barrera, man. That guy made it so tough to play the game because he had the ability to completely change the tempo and the momentum of a game with his. I respect it too because it's the art within the art,
Yeah.
and being able to flop and being able you had to just take everything so lightly. And then flip to that, like the equivalent of that would be James Harden, right? Because
Yeah.
you couldn't touch him. Like it was in, so you had to figure out how to play the game. But from a defensive standpoint, it would be by far, well, obviously you have your shot blockers. So Shaquille O'Neal is up there. But as far as like, oh God, we got these guys, it would have to be Ron Artest from a single player and from a team perspective. The Phoenix Suns, man, that team was a headache. That team was a
I
headache.
don't always equate them to being a defensive team, more of just the run and gun. But yeah, they were definitely well coached. So that makes a lot of sense.
So, what was your welcome to the league moment? That moment where you're like, oh man, I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Man, Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady. All you have to do is say his name. You don't even need to go into depth. Tracy McGrady was like, what the is going on? Because he's legitimate he's 6'10. Like, and you couldn't do it. It's the reason why Kobe said that. Like T Mac he was the welcome to the league moment. I had to guard him for 35 minutes, and there was nothing I can do other than just jump and hopefully he misses it. And his back to the basket game was whoo, because he
He
could
did
shoot
have a
that.
good post-up game. I remember that.
Did
Yeah.
have a great post-up game. Also, it would be Carmelo Anthony.
Mm.
You feel his body for the whole game. He is a bull in a china shop. He gets to where he wants. His footwork in the mid range and mid post is insane. It's insane.
Do you ever feel like, I think when we watch the league on TV, we just kind of assume because there's 82 games and you've played your whole life, right? That like there's no nerves, but like, do you ever get nervous guarding a T-Mac or guarding Kobe or one of these guys where you're just like, man, like I'm on edge a little bit here.
Yeah, it's you get butterflies, but it's more so like in a sense positive anxiety because it's like here's one of the great top 5 of all time players. And it's like, I've seen this guy in the arena when I was just spectating when he came to Seattle to play the Sonics. And I was like, this guy is not real. And then you go play him in person and you're like, this guy is real, but he's not real. So Butterfly's playing against somebody like him. Who else? Allen Iverson was like one of those enigmas. Like he was so elusive. You couldn't stop him. It was like back up and hopefully he misses his shot. But if you get up on him, he's going right past you, kind of like a SGA as well. But yeah, you get excited. You get excited for these games, man. You one of the 400 players in the world that are competing at such a high level that when you have the confidence of I'm supposed to be out here and you go out there and you do your best. Like Kobe was by far he was my favorite player to play against and compete.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that tails into our next question pretty seamlessly. Like, was Kobe the one you were starstruck to be on the same floor with and be like, whoa? Or were you close enough in age as peers that you're like, whatever. Maybe someone towards the end of their career that had been around for 15, 20 years that you're like, wow, that's Shaq. That's John Stockton. You know what I mean? Like, was there anybody where you're like kind of pinching yourself like, man, I can't believe I'm on the floor with this guy right now?
Kobe. The first time we played them was in Los Angeles. I went up to him and was like, bro, I'm trying to get to that level. Gave him some dap and a hug, bro. His face is like F off. It was respect. He shook my hand and he just went, and then when he's locked in, he's locked in. And that was off-putting, but I totally understood it.
Yeah.
it would be him.
So who was maybe your favorite teammate that you had in your 10-year career? Who was your favorite teammate? Not the best, but who was your favorite?
Andre Miller was such a dope teammate.
Really?
Oh my God. Because this man's played, he had so many years on me in the league, and he's coming to me and asking me, like, what do you see out there? What are some things that we should adjust? He's coming and asking me these questions. Usually it's the coach sitting down and kind of telling you what to see and what to adjust. He was like, he would ask you. Like, he was an amazing teammate. Loved playing against that guy, and one of the most underrated players probably in the history of the game. But as far as excitement player, Michael Beasley was up there. So much potential. That kid was, he was a monster, like a straight monster. Now, as far as killer I played with, Brandon Roy by far. Like B. Roy.
One of the big what ifs.
Man, even Kobe said it. Like, one of the hardest players he's ever had to play against was B. Roy, because you could not speed B. Roy up. He got to wherever he wanted, and he did it without a sweat. I don't even think I've ever seen this guy drip sweat. It was just his pace. And now, as far as the most athletic and electrifying player that actually had an impact on the game, would be John Wall. John Wall was he was a spark for sure.
Yeah, you've had quite a variety of teammates. That's pretty cool. I was just thinking about, and we'll get into some journeyman stuff later and what that was like to kind of go from team to team. But awesome to be able to experience lots of different types of teammates. And the league was changing so much then too. You probably saw some old school and some new school.
Yeah.
Who's a current player that you would love to play against now in the league? Not with, against. And how would you think you'd guard them and try to stop what they're doing?
Yeah. Jaylen Brown. I would love to play against that guy. Because he's such just outside of basketball, he's like a genius. So he applies that to the game, and you're almost thinking like, I watch him play and I'm like, wow, he's freakishly athletic, but his timing is so good. His timing is so good. Then it would be his other teammate, which is Jason Tatum. I would love to play against Jason Tatum. Obviously, I want to play against the best player. So SGA is clearly the best player. That guy is clearly heads above everybody, the best player. Took every single trophy that you could get over this year. The last person to do that was Michael Jordan, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. As far as a trash talker, it'd be Anthony Edwards. I would love to play against that kid. And I don't know, his spirit for the game is one that you respect, but it's also one you want to crush because of that. I think his bravado is what the league needed, especially to kind of change the course on where the game was going. I think he's kind of setting the bar on that. If I had to go one more player, that's a good one. Honestly, that's probably
That's
it.
great, man.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Those are all great. For those that maybe didn't follow the league back when you were playing, do you have a player in today's league that you feel like if there was a comparison to who you were when you were playing, what player would you say today best matches Martell Webster?
There's so many, but the one that just jumps out right away is Chris Middleton.
Mm.
Chris Middleton for sure. I love that kid's game. Yeah, he has his green light is amazing, and he makes the most of it. Yeah. It will be Chris Middleton.
That's great.
It's a good comp. I like that. Well, you did it, man. You beat the press. You got past Brett and I.
Early.
Scotty.
Get a timeout at half court.